5, 4, 3, 2, something like that. There we go. Looks like we're actually live now. Good morning, everybody. It is, aside from a very strange echo that we're getting for no apparent reason, it is the 5th of July, and it is Monday. It's also the first day of camp for many people coming back to organized activities going out of the house. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about VZ. We're going to talk about other stuff and things in just a moment. But Brandon, what's going on? What's happening with VZ today?
Well, today VZ is going to be in 31 Division as well as 55 Division. So again, we can go to our handy dandy interactive torontopolice.on.ca/divisions map, and you can figure out where in the city you might be located. So you can see if there's going to be a Vision Zero officer there today or many Vision Zero officers. So 31 Division right here, it's in the area field. Pull that up, we can find out all we need to know about it. 31 Division, including divisional boundaries, people that you could contact. You can pull up a small map. Same thing for 51 Division, where you can, again, divisional boundaries, and you can access an even more interactive map, and you can pinpoint exactly where you are in the city, and that helps you to hopefully not get pulled over by a VZ officer today, but that's not going to be a problem because all of our viewers are very tight on the road rules and understand road safety.
Yeah, you know, where is Waldo? At the end of the day, Vision Zero Enforcement Team is a dedicated team of officers that focus on the big four, and that is speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. So if you don't want to meet someone and have them give their number on a piece of paper that they hand you, you want to make sure you're following the rules in the city of Toronto and anywhere you're driving to keep people safe, because the ultimate goal is to reduce serious injuries and death on our road. And with that, we are talking about, let's see here, we're talking about...
Well, we've got impaired stats. It's the weekend. It's Monday. It's time to talk impaired stats. Sorry, folks. Sean's a bit distracted today because he had a very busy morning. But he's also a little, he's kind of excited about his TikTok live thing, so it's hard to, rein him in.
No, there's a lot of things. Today is the first day you may notice the difference in timing on the show. It's now after 10 o'clock. We're usually doing this at 8 o'clock. I got kids that take the camp, and many of you do too. So I want to talk about camp. But let's talk about impaired driving first.
Right. So over the weekend, we had 14 impaired driving arrests, courtesy of our good friend DC Scott Matthews in the CIB here at Traffic Services. 14 people for impaired operation offenses. 3 of those people were found to be passed out behind the wheel. I think that's an important note. We'll talk a little bit more about that. 7 drivers under the influence of drugs. We're seeing a rise in that, unfortunately, correlated to the legalization of cannabis recently, and 1 driver with 3 times over the legal limit in alcohol. So not impressive numbers. A little bit down from the previous week, but unfortunately it's still not... It's not what we want, right? The goal is Vision Zero. We want to see 0 impaired operation numbers overall. We want to see a reduction in KSIs and serious injuries. And this isn't exactly an impressive number as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's very disappointing.
The thing that I want to kind of key on for folks today is the 3 drivers found passed out behind the wheel. And why I think that this is important is because we get questions all the time in TikTok saying, well, can I drink in my driveway, in my car, or can I smoke cannabis in a parked vehicle on the street? Well, yes and no. If you happen to have keys on you and you're, smoking or drinking in that vehicle, you're technically in operation. You have care and control over that vehicle at that time. You could still, get an impaired operation charge in that situation. So honestly, it's just better to keep yourself and vehicles, particularly if you have any control over it, just completely separated. If you're going to be enjoying cannabis or alcohol, we understand those are things that people do. And we want you to enjoy those. We want you to enjoy them safely, though. And this isn't 14 people. That's not indicative of safe.
Yeah, it's simply things that should not ever mix. And as much as if you don't have keys on you, you might find yourself in a situation where you're arrested, and that's ultimately not something you want. So simply don't do it. Just keep them completely in separate paths. Make plans in advance. Don't use your vehicle as a party location, whether you have keys or not. And just don't drive impaired, and don't sit impaired. in a car. Not worth it. So we talk about what has to happen if you're driving a vehicle and you go through a ride program or you're stopped by a police officer. What are the chain of events that may occur? Well, something that many of you may not have heard, since 2018, it may still be new to you, and that is something called mandatory alcohol screening. And mandatory alcohol screening demand at any time. Uh, if they pulled you over for a lawful reason, they pull you over for speeding. They don't need to have the suspicion. They don't need to uh, smell alcohol. They just need to have proof of you behind the wheel and driving. And simply that is enough to make a demand under alcohol screening for you to provide a sample of your breath or to have you perform we call it that test, which may result in you being arrested.
Standard field sobriety test.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got some laws that are making it easier for police to test for alcohol, and even talking about in pandemic times, you don't want someone with their face and yours sniffing for alcohol. It's not safe for anybody, but mandatory alcohol screening makes it a lot easier. And sometimes alcohol isn't something that you would have noticed. There's many people who may have gotten away with it in the past that are now being stopped and tested because regardless of the fact that they may not be showing signs of impairment, they may have alcohol that's above the legal limit. So things to be aware of. Don't drive with alcohol or drugs in your system, and you won't have issues. Plan ahead. Find an alternate way.
Absolutely. And now we want to talk about something that's important to everyone, and of maybe particular importance to our good friend Sean here. But we've got a lot of people jumping in the room. This is exciting for us because, again, as Sean was saying, we're trying things a little bit differently in terms of the time. And we're seeing a lot of people jumping in and saying good morning to us, which is excellent. Amanda McDonald, one of our good friends. Good morning. Good morning, Amanda. We got a few other people saying good morning. Good morning to you as well. We've got some good questions as well here that are sort of related to impaired driving, so we'll get into those a little bit as well. This one's a bit long. Sean, can we action something like this? Sir, I donated my blood. After 9 hours of driving, I got fainted and went into a ditch. I got a careless ticket for the good cause. Do you think court will consider this medical emergency?
You know what? That's up to the courts. Unfortunately, if you weren't in a position, whether by medical or otherwise, to be driving, you really shouldn't be driving. And I appreciate the fact that you were doing something good. It resulted in a collision. It resulted in putting people's lives at risk, even including your own. So that's something for the courts. But certainly bring it up to them. So I'm sure they'll listen to that and take it into consideration. But is it a defense? I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's see. We got a few other things. Apparently, we're having some mic issues. Sorry about that, folks out there.
Yeah. Today we're getting a bunch of feedback. I'm hearing myself through your mic. You don't know what's going on. Maybe a mode setting. I'll have to figure this out. I gotta get you a mic like mine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got the blue ball, but anyway, we've got.
It's too loud. Problem is that we're in a big open area that's echoey. It's not sound treated. We're planning on moving to a studio or a more sound treated room, or maybe we'll be into different areas. Whatever the case may be, just look to improve this every time we go on the air.
But before we do that, we got to find out what we're going to call this thing. What are we going to call this studio? Hopefully, maybe we can get some good suggestions from the crowd. We have another question here from Brittany. Can you legally pass on a double line if it's safe to do so? Good question.
So the answer to this is legal passing, or let's talk about lines. Lines are suggestions. They tell you what's safe to do so based on the road up ahead. So double line suggests that you should not pass, mostly due to visibility. But can you get a ticket for crossing the line? There's no ticket for crossing the line. Whether it's yellow or white doesn't matter. A white line means that the traffic on the other side of the lane or the line is going the same direction. A yellow line means that the traffic on the other side of the line is going the opposite direction. And again, you can cross that line, but you do take responsibility for your actions. If something goes south, it's going to be on you.
Okay. Is there a ticket on hands-free on a bicycle for doing wheelies? Wait, what? Ticket for no hands on a bicycle for doing wheelies. There we go. No, not that I know of. Not on a bicycle. Motorcycle.
Has this improved the audio at all? Do we make this better or worse?
I have no idea. Quixotic Queen, she's usually the one that gives us
She
the.
she is the monitor.
Okay, well, let's move on to Sean's topic.
My
Sean wants to
topic.
talk about camp, summer. It's an exciting
Okay.
time.
So yeah, just the fact that many parents are out there taking their kids to camp, and we're seeing that may mean more traffic. Just instead of the folks that have been either learning from home or going out to local schools, they may be crossing into areas that are much further away from where their normal routine takes them. Some kids are taking themselves to school or to camp. So we just want everyone to be aware of the fact that there may be more pedestrians out, and to be wary of the fact that kids do some unpredictable things at times. So please be aware. Please slow down. Please pay attention. If you're in school zones where many schools are or camps are operating, please take extra care. School zones are still enforceable. They are community safety zones. So for your sake and for the sakes of everybody else that are sharing the road, please be safe and please be cautious. Okay. So apparently something went better on the audio, and I don't know
Way
if
better.
it was okay. We have no idea why. In any case, it's better, and we'll have a celebratory hurrah. I can hear Sean through his mic now. Oh, were you guys not hearing me at all through my mic? Oh, okay. I'm glad to know. I'm glad to know it was my fault entirely.
We have another good question from stats about DUIs. I don't think that we would have. How is the stats for the DUI distracted driving in Toronto versus surrounding cities? We wouldn't have access to those stats. If you go to some places like TIRF, for example, TIRF.ca, they do have those kinds of stats where they can talk about more nationwide what it looks like in terms of impaired driving, distracted driving, and what's causing collisions these days. We don't keep those stats on hand. Our stats are very in-house. We look at Toronto and Toronto police stats specifically.
Awesome. So I got feedback from Quixotic Queen that my microphone wasn't active at all. So it was only the horrible mic on the other side that was picking me up. And now we have two mics going. So anyway.
Oh, it was all coming through mine?
Apparently, originally it was only coming through yours, and now it is coming through both of ours.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, thank you very much for the feedback. We appreciate it. Let's see here. Got another question? You've got a question? Pick a question. Any question?
Orange construction signs. Are they legal? I think if you mean legal, like are they enforceable? Like do you have to obey them? Then yes. Yes, you do. There are increased fines if you're found to be speeding within those areas. It's not just a suggestion. It is something that you should take very seriously because it is enforceable legally, but it's also for your safety and obviously the safety of people who are doing construction on the roads.
Got a question from Avery who asks, my friend is a G1 driver and took his mom's Jeep. I went with him. Could I get in trouble for that? Well, here's an interesting thing. So if he took mom's Jeep with her permission, then he may be eligible for a ticket. Well, would be eligible for a G1 drive unaccompanied, assuming you're not a approved supervising G. So if you don't have a G-class license with 4 years of driving experience that would have started from G2 and continued to G, then you wouldn't be capable of wouldn't be capable of supervising him legally. And if he was stopped, he could be ticketed for G1 unaccompanied. If he took that car without permission of mom or dad or whoever owns it, that's take vehicle without consent. And regardless of licensing status, they could be charged criminally. Now, the question really was, could you be charged? And, you're both G1 drivers. Avery just jumped in. So, yeah, so that's a situation. So if it was with mom or dad's permission, mom or dad would be responsible and could be charged under the Highway Traffic Act for permitting someone who's not properly licensed to be driving. If he, again, took it without consent, now you're in a criminal situation. And it's very possible, depending on the way the evidence was presented to the officer stopping you, that you could be charged in cooperation for that because it's essentially it's a criminal offense. So yeah, you're both in possession of that vehicle and you could be charged as well. So not a good idea. I would suggest your friend's not making good decisions. Sadly, if you knew he was a G1 and you're a G1 and you are also aware of the rules, you weren't making good decisions either for that time. So I would avoid it in the future.
That's right. Wow, lots of questions today. We're getting
good. It's good.
Excellent.
Apparently, 10 o'clock is the right time to be on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube.
I guess so. We have Tassos. I hope I'm saying that right. Tassos 300. He's a good friend of ours now. What is recommended to do if an emergency vehicle is on the shoulder, but I'm unable to switch lanes safely? Yeah, I mean that's the kind of situation where your safety as well as the safety of the emergency vehicle that's responding to an emergency call are paramount. Communicating with the drivers beside you to let them know your intention, that you're intending to try to get into that lane. They're going to hear the vehicle as well. Those are good things to do. Don't do anything to put yourself in risk for the emergency vehicles. Like, we understand that you're trying to help us out, and we appreciate that, but don't enter an intersection on a red. If you have to move very slowly. And that helps not only us, the emergency vehicle, but also drivers around you to understand your intentions, right?
But I think this is specific to the slow down, move over law. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tassos, but if you're saying that you see a vehicle with its lights activated on the shoulder and you're trying to make the space as required by law, at the end of the day, slowing down, signaling your intention well in advance, because you should be looking off into the far. It's eye lead. You want to be looking as far forward as possible, and making the plans to make the lane change well in advance. If it's something last minute, you're just trying to get around them. You weren't paying attention far enough away. So there shouldn't be a sudden last minute change of lane. It should be something you start way in advance, and slowing down and creating that space is the way to do it.
Perfect. Let's see what else we do have some really good questions. This one, if someone gets pulled over with expired tickets on a vehicle as well as no insurance, what tickets do they get, Sean?
Well, so the expired stickers, as long as they expired March 2020 or later, they aren't considered expired. The Ministry of Transportation in Ontario has extended them until further notice. So you wouldn't get a ticket for that. Now, the no insurance, that is a serious charge. That carries a minimum fine in Ontario for $5,000 to $25,000 on a first conviction. So that's the one that you have to worry about right now. Don't drive a motor vehicle without insurance. It's simply not permitted. You won't be driving home. You're going to get charged. It's a bad day at the office.
Now here's one that really impresses me. Ethan McCaw, he's sort of answering our question earlier about the construction signs. So not only do we have some people who are very new to the roadways, who are either new to the country or new to driving and have a lot of interesting questions, we have a lot of excellent followers like Ethan and Quixotic Queen and Tassos who have quite a bit of knowledge too. So another reason to jump into the TikTok live when we have it, because while we might not answer because we get a lot of questions, we might not be able to answer every one of them, but oftentimes some of our very intelligent viewers are able to do so for us.
All of our viewers are intelligent. That's why they're viewing us, because it's a meeting of the minds here. We're all sharp as a tack. Avery came back with a follow-up saying he asked me to take my parents' car. This is follow-up to the question of his friend taking the car without permission. So Avery was asked if he wanted to take his parents' car, but he said no. But he wasn't aware of the fact that he too could be in trouble. Yeah, criminal activity, and most people don't consider taking mom or dad's car criminal. Is one that if you're doing it together and you have knowledge that it's wrong, you suddenly bear some of the responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's not to say he wouldn't fess up and take responsibility. It might make it where you don't get charged, but the possibility is there, and that's enough for you not to be involved. And think about this: when you take a vehicle that is not insured, or you're not licensed to be behind the wheel, and something happens and you result in a collision and you hurt somebody, or you hurt yourself, well, insurance companies aren't going to cover you, because you're not legally behind the wheel of the car. You're not licensed. So you could be seriously injured and be in a situation where you have no coverage. There's some basic coverage that are minimums in Ontario, but you're not going to be covered as a full user, and his vehicle wouldn't be covered at all, from what I understand, unless in fact he was stealing it, and then it would be a theft of. Anyway, it gets complicated. And at the end of the day, don't drive and don't be a passenger of a vehicle where the driver is only a G1.
Good stuff. Well, hi. That's pretty good for just a you and I day. We got a lot of questions.
It's not bad. There's more coming in.
Tassos.
And Tassos is actually a insurance professional. So Tassos, let's throw it up there. If the vehicle is taken without permission, we won't cover the claim unless it's under the all perils, which covers theft by family member. So does that mean it needs to have a special rider, or would it be covered by theft of family member by virtue? It's not covered under. See, there you go. See, Tassos, I think we need to have you on the show. I think we need to ask you some stuff live on the show, because you'd be a good guest. So let me know if you're up for that.
Yeah, send us a DM. You know what? I think people would love that. That'd be great content.
Absolutely. Let's see. Have we got some more stuff going on? We had an interesting question on TikTok that I posed the question, and although this isn't a traffic related thing, if you find money on the ground, what do you do with it? If you find $20 on the ground when you're walking by, is it your money? Should you be reporting that find to the local police? what's the rules on money? If you found a bag of money, because somebody came back and said, well, I found a bag of money, does that change things? Yeah, Avery says turn it in. It's an interesting question because there's no specific law that says if you find $20, you have to deliver it to the closest police station. So then it's a matter of, do you give it to charity? Do you take it and try and find someone in the local vicinity? It's just as a conversation starter. I'm always interested to know what people think you should do. And Tasso saw that video. So a number of people said if it was in a wallet, it belongs to someone, and you should report it. You should take it to police. I agree with that. But if it's not in a wallet, a lot of people said finders keepers, losers weepers, and that's an interesting take on it. Let's go back into here. Can I drive my? Oh, here we go. Louis has a question. Are you throwing it up on screen? Am I throwing it up on
sorry.
screen?
Sorry, I was pulling up something else.
I'll put it. I got it. I hit the button. Hi, guys. Can I drive my Polaris Slingshot in the HOV lanes on the 400 series and QEW highways by myself since it's registered as a motorcycle? I'm going to say yes, because it is registered as a motorcycle. And the question is, can you ride a motorcycle in the HOV lanes alone? And you can. As of 2019, it became law that HOV lanes allowed single occupant motorcycles or single passenger motorcycles to use them. Now, it is classified as a motorcycle. What I'm going to suggest, though, is many police officers will look at it and think it's a car. They may not be up on the fact that it's a motorcycle. So it might result in a stop, but you probably won't get charged for it.
Tezos has an interesting system. So if he finds a big amount of money, he'll turn it in. Anything under $50, he uses for lotto and donates the winnings. Anything over 50 to 200, he gives a local animal shelter. I like this guy. Shelter.
You've given this some serious thought, my friend. Yeah. That's cool. It is, and it's just a conversation thing. By no means is it a judgment as to what is right or wrong. If you find money on the ground, no one's around, is it reasonable? Does it change based on denomination? If it's 25 cents to $25, it's always curious to hear what comes back when we talk about it. The other thing we were talking about, and it's a TikTok question that's up right now, is during our lives, we had a difficulty. We couldn't turn off the feature to stop people from giving us money, which is an awkward position for police officers to be in, because we don't want any money. We get paid to be here. But in our live setting on TikTok during our live sessions, people were throwing money at us in the form of a donation. They call it diamonds or likes, or I don't even know what it's called. At the end of the day, we've amassed a small amount of about $80, and we were going to give it to Sick Kids Hospital. But in light of what's happened with our brother who was taken in the line of duty last week, we thought we might want to change the direction of that charity to Special Olympics based on the request of the family for donations. And the big question is, what do the people who gave us that money think? So we have a poll right now on our most recently posted video asking for the opinion of our viewers. Where should this money go? Either Sick Kids Children's Hospital in Toronto, or should it go to Special Olympics Ontario? And I think any new money coming in would just go to Special Olympics. But the money we've received up until now, what do you think we should do with it? So if you don't follow us on TikTok, we go live Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. And we were normally going 8:30 to 9. Sorry, was it 8:30 to 9? Why do I keep making this up? 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock to 8:30 we used to go on this show. All messed up today. Camp. That's what it is. Camp has messed me up. So 8 to 8:30, we'd have a 30-minute break. We'd come back at 9. That's what we used to do. Now, because of camp, I've got to change my schedule. And we are coming in for 10 o'clock originally, we were saying, for the show. Does that work for everybody? I think it works for everybody. We have to go 10:15. Well, we're gonna play with some numbers and see what the balance is. But we're gonna go on after we go our TikTok. We will come here and go live here, and that'll be the game. So if there's nothing else coming in from the chat room, which is great, we had great interaction. Thank you so much for everyone who popped in to say hello. Brittany just jumped in. Oh, Brittany says, throw it on screen. I think it should go to both, only because I have family in Special Olympics and Sick Kids Toronto. Saved my daughter's life 11 years ago. Oh, I like that. I like that too. Maybe we take everything before and then everything going forward, we switch. Quixotic Queen says, there's a function on TikTok that allows you to specify the donations to go towards the charity of choice directly rather than TikTok account. We tried turning it off altogether. It messed up some other settings, so we couldn't use it. And then I don't know if the Canadian charities are showing up on our stuff, but if they are, then I'd like to use that. That's great. Avery wants to know if there's a charge for road rage or a ticket. Depends on what the offense is. If you are, being aggressive or dangerous, it could be criminal. It may not just be a ticket. Depends on what you consider aggressive. If you're cutting someone off, it could be unsafe lane change. If it could be careless driving, if it was speeding and swerving, it depends on the actual driving events. There's no road rage ticket in specific. Is it Joan Kennedy says, I vote for Special Olympics. Awesome. There's gonna be a lot of discussion about that. If you want to be part of that conversation, jump on a TikTok, vote on the video. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, and Quixotic Queen says, yes, the Sick Kids Foundation shows up on TikTok charities list. I can go through that with you later on. Okay, perfect. We got backup. We're gonna get help. So if you don't follow us already on Twitter, you can. It's at Traffic Services. We are also on Instagram, Traffic Services Toronto. If you would like to view us on YouTube, you can get us at Traffic Services Toronto Police, and of course, the place that we spend amazing time with amazing people, many of whom are right now watching this show and participating in the chat. Well, that is going to be Traffic Services on TikTok. And 9 a.m. till 10 a.m., Monday to Friday, barring except for holidays, we'll be there live. We have some comments here. Jared Grimble wants to know, I like that name, Jared. That last name's cool. Makes me think of, you're going to hate me. It makes me think of Harry Potter, which I just watched over the weekend. If I have an M license but don't have insurance, I am looking to buy a bike, can I test ride a bike or do I need to have my own insurance? So if you're test riding a bike from a dealership, they're insured by the dealership. If they let you do test rides, I'm not aware of anyone letting you do that. If you're test riding a bike that belongs to the person selling it, it needs to be insured by them. And of course, before you can travel with your bike, you need to have insurance on it. If you're going to be driving it home after you buy it, make sure that it is insured, because again, we mentioned it earlier in the show, $5,000 to $25,000 if you're convicted on your first conviction, if you're charged. So not something you want to mess with. And insurance is so hard to get for a motorcycle. You don't want to mess with them. But you're an M-Class license. Call your insurance company, tell them you're looking to buy a bike, and ask them if they have a rider, for a rider being a temporary policy for the new bike that you're looking to buy. Give them as much information as you can. Your insurance person will, oh, hang on, look at this. Okay, Tassos has an answer for us. He's the insurance master. It says, Jarrett, you don't need insurance for that. When you test drive a bike, use their insurance. Lend your bike, lend your insurance. Make sure it has insurance before testing. And that's the big issue is, do you know that they have insurance? You taking them on their word, and is that safe? Because at the end of the day, you're the rider. You're not responsible for the insurance of the bike, but you are responsible for being covered. And if there's no coverage of the bike and you're injured, that's a problem.
Yeah, and if you're selling that bike, I would suggest doing the opposite and making sure that the person you're letting ride it has a proper license, because if they're not licensed properly, maybe we should ask our friend Tasso so you could run into the same type of issue.
Brian Thomas says, good morning. That is YYZ Traffic Cop popping in to say hello. He's on Facebook. I think you're the only person on Facebook. I don't mean not like the only person on Facebook, but the only person who's come in with a comment on Facebook this morning. But hi, Brian. I looked at your photo this morning. His breakfast photo was quite a nice photo. He should be on Instagram. Anyway, all right. We are about to sign off. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating, for joining us. And every time we start to say goodbye, someone comes in with a comment. Amanda says, I wish we had driver insurance here. As someone who doesn't own, it would be awesome to insure. I'm always covered. That's a great point. And this is another Tassos question. Tassos, this is more and more, we're looking like we need you on the show to answer these questions. I think an insurance question would be a great one. So, you know what? Oh, wait, I don't know what's going on here. What is Tassos answering? That you're correct, Brandon. It's good that you're
just
correct.
The license stuff earlier. Make sure that if you're selling your vehicle, make sure whoever you're letting test drive it is appropriately licensed, or else, Tassos gonna have to give you the rundown.
Okay. Well, Tassos, let's connect. We want to see if we can come out and answer some questions as a panelist up here, because we need your help. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Hopefully it doesn't rain. We're hoping that the weather is incorrect. The weather report is incorrect. We won't have thunderstorms, but it might be thunderstorms. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and we'll see you back here tomorrow at 10-ish. 10-ish. That's safe, right?